You do not remember a single day without mud. It clings to your skirts, to the soles of your feet, to your very thoughts. In this medieval village, the air is thick with the stench of damp earth, rotting straw, and old, persistent fear. No one truly knows anyone else, not really. At night, behind those warped wooden doors, every soul is alone with secrets, some whispered, some imagined, all dangerous. The day begins the same way it always does, before the sun, when the mist creeps along the ground and chickens, if you are lucky enough to have any, make more noise than they are worth. Your hands are cracked and red from washing endless laundry in cold water. Your mother's voice nags in your memory. Work harder, keep your head down, do not look anyone in the eye. Because here, suspicion is as common as lice. The men in the village walk as if the ground owes them something. They spit in the dust and stare too long, their eyes sliding over you and every other woman like slugs. Even the priest, with his yellow teeth and sour breath, preaches about the devil. But you have long since learned that evil most often wears a human face, especially when darkness falls and whispers leak through the cracks in the walls. Last year, old Marta disappeared. She was found a week later, floating face down in the river. They said it was the devil's work. Her chickens had stopped laying. Her neighbor's son had fallen sick. It was enough. That is always enough. You remember her face, the long nose, the trembling hands, the way she tried to sell you herbs for your cough. Now, children throw stones at her empty house, daring each other to shout her name. You have started noticing the way people look at you. At first you try to ignore it, but now, every time you cough or a cow goes dry, you feel eyes on your back. At the well, women hush their voices when you approach. Their laughter dies, and their hands grip their buckets tighter, as if you might snatch their water or poison it with a glance. Nothing happens quickly in your world. Every day crawls by on swollen, mud-caked feet. You pray to avoid notice, to be invisible, but even that is dangerous. The priest warns that the devil loves the quiet ones, the watchers, the secret keepers. Yet if you are too loud, too cheerful, too helpful, that too is a risk. There are rules, and none of them make sense. Winter is the worst. The cold is a living thing that creeps into your bones and never leaves. Fires are precious. You share your bed with 3 others just to keep warm, and even then you wake shivering. Your dress is always damp, your hair never clean. You do not remember the last time you truly felt safe. The rumors grow thicker than the smoke from the tallow candles. You hear them even as you knead bread, the dough sticky and sour between your fingers. Someone saw her in the woods. Someone heard her talking to herself at night. Someone found strange marks near her door. It does not matter that everyone talks to themselves, that everyone walks in the woods, that there are marks near every door, boot prints, dog paws, the cracks left by a hard frost. Truth here is whatever the crowd decides, and the crowd is restless. Some say it is the famine, others the illness that swept through last spring, carrying away children and old men alike. There must be a reason, a cause, a scapegoat. No one wants to admit that life is just hunger, dirt, and luck. It is easier to believe in curses than in randomness. You try to keep your head down, to make yourself smaller, quieter. But that does not stop the glances, the muttered prayers, the sign of the cross made whenever you pass. Even the children seem to know that you are different, though you are not sure why. Is it the color of your eyes? The way you laugh, too loud or not at all? You wish you could change, could be anyone but yourself. Your nights are the worst. You lie awake, listening to the house creak and sigh, to the soft breathing of your sisters, to the distant barking of dogs. Sometimes you dream of fire. Sometimes you dream of running through endless woods, chased by something you cannot see. You always wake up before it catches you. Every week, it seems, another woman is taken. Sometimes it is the oldest, sometimes the youngest. It never makes sense, not really. There is always a reason. Too many cats, too few children, a bad harvest, a rash that will not go away. The men with their pikes and their sour faces come in the night. They bang on doors, drag screaming women from their beds. The next day, the air is thick with silence, broken only by the priest's endless muttering and the faint, sharp scent of fear. It is not life, it is survival. Every moment, every word, every glance might be the thing that condemns you. You learn to watch, to listen, to guess who will be next. It is a grim kind of game, and you do not want to play, but there is no way out. And so you continue. Another day, another aching back, another meal of stale bread and watery soup. You have learned that hope is a dangerous thing. The only safety lies in routine, in blending in not giving anyone a reason to look at you twice. But even that, as you are starting to realize, may not be enough. You do not remember what woke you. Perhaps it was the heavy thudding of boots on the damp ground outside, or the sudden, harsh silence that fell over your family as if all the air had been sucked out of the night. Perhaps it was the icy grip of fear, already wrapped around your ribs, squeezing. But when the banging starts, there is no mistaking it. Fists pounding on wood, shouts muffled by the wind. You know, in the pit of your stomach, that it is for you. There is no time to hide, no chance to run. You are out of your bed, bare feet sinking into the mud of the floor, arms clutched around your thin shift. Your sisters stare at you with wide, terrified eyes. Your mother's hands shake as she whispers prayers, but she does not move to stop them. No one ever does. The men at the door, 3 of them, faces lost in shadow, voices thick with authority, do not ask questions. They simply grab you, rough hands digging into your arms, and drag you out into the night. It is raining. It is always raining. The ground outside is a churning sea of mud, sucking at your feet as you stumble along, pulled between the men like a sack of grain. People have gathered in the street, faces pale and silent in the flickering light of torches. Some you recognize, neighbors, friends, the baker's wife, the old woman who sometimes gave you scraps for the chickens. None of them speak, none of them help. They just watch, eyes wide, breath steaming in the cold. You are paraded through the village, through the market square where you have bought wilted carrots and crusts of bread. The air smells of smoke and dung and old fear. Every step is humiliation. Every glance is a knife. Children press close to their mothers, who shield them with trembling arms. The men do not look at you. Not really. Their eyes slip past you, focusing on the ground, on the sky, on anything but your face. The jail is worse than you imagined. A squat stone building, half sunk in mud. its only window a slit barely wide enough to let in the damp. Inside, it is colder than outside. The walls slick with moisture. The straw on the floor so filthy it seems alive. You are thrown inside, the door slamming shut behind you with a finality that echoes in your bones. The darkness is nearly complete. You can smell rot, old blood, fear so thick it coats your tongue. You do not know how long you lie there. Time loses meaning. You shiver, teeth chattering, arms wrapped around your knees. Somewhere nearby, someone sobs quietly. Another voice, hoarse and ragged, mutters prayers that twist into curses. You recognize neither. You do not want to. The guards come for you before dawn. They drag you into another room, a space that might once have been a cellar, now bare except for a table, a bucket, and the ever-present smell of sweat and despair. Two men stand there, one fat and ruddy-faced, the other thin and hollow-eyed. They ask your name, your age, if you know why you are here. You lie, but it does not matter. They already know, or think they do. The questions start out simple. Where were you last night? Who did you speak to in the market? Did you see anyone acting strangely? But then they turn. Did you make a pact with the devil? Did you curse your neighbor's cow? Did you meet with other women in the woods? You deny everything, of course. It does not matter. They are not listening. Their hands are not gentle. They grab your chin, forcing you to look at them, their breath hot and sour on your face. They examine your skin, searching for marks, moles, scars, anything unusual. You flinch, humiliated, as their fingers poke and prod, yanking up your sleeves, tugging at your collar. When they find a birthmark, a bruise, a scratch, they nod knowingly, as if you have confessed to everything. You are returned to your cell, body aching, pride in tatters. The other women do not look at you. There is an unspoken agreement here. Do not speak, do not ask, do not care. You do not know their names, you do not want to. Some are old, some young. All are dirty, exhausted, stripped of whatever dignity they once possessed. Food, when it comes, is a crust of bread, a cup of brackish water. You force it down, gagging, stomach roiling. The hunger is constant, a gnawing ache that never fades. You learn to ignore it, to focus instead on the cold, the damp, the ever-present fear. At night you curl into a ball on the filthy straw, listening to the rats scrabble in the dark, to the soft whimpers of your fellow prisoners. Sometimes you hear screams, not often, just enough to remind you what waits on the other side of the door. The guards laugh as they pass your cell, jokes muffled by thick stone walls. You try not to listen. You try not to think. On the third day, or perhaps the fourth, time is slippery. They come for you again. This time, they bring you to a different room, brighter, filled with the harsh glare of torches. There is a table here, and ropes and instruments whose purpose you do not want to imagine. The men are different now. There are more of them, faces masked by the flickering shadows. Their questions are sharper, their patience thinner. They tell you that confession will save your soul, that if you admit your sins, if you beg forgiveness, you will be shown mercy. You do not believe them, but you want to. Anything would be better than this endless limbo, this not knowing. Still you deny. Still you resist. Their anger grows. Their hands become fists, slaps, blows. You taste blood, feel it trickle down your chin. You want to cry, to scream, to fight, but you do not. You have learned that silence is safer. Eventually, they tire of you. You are dragged back to your cell, body bruised, mind numb. The other women do not ask what happened. They do not need to. They have lived it, are living it, will live it again. Days blur together. There is no sun here. Only the endless drip of water from the ceiling, the slow decay of hope. You wonder if anyone outside remembers you. If your mother weeps, if your sisters pray, if anyone cares. You doubt it. You begin to dream of escape, of freedom, of a world where you are not hunted for things you cannot control. But even your dreams are gray, muddy, cold. You wait, because that is all you can do now. It is not really morning when they come for you, but the torches are still burning low, the air is heavy and stale, and you have not slept. You hear footsteps, keys jangling, the scrape of the bolt. This time, you are not surprised. You do not flinch as rough hands pull you to your feet, as you are marched down a corridor lined with ancient stones sweating dampness. You do not speak. There is nothing left to say. Resistance is pointless, and questions are simply an invitation for cruelty. You are brought to a new room, larger, colder. There are more men here now, some in uniforms, others wearing only blank, hungry expressions. At the far side stands the priest, already muttering prayers and holding a fat, cracked book. In the center is a table, thick, stained with ancient marks, gouges, and the greasy residue of previous confessions. Around it, instruments. Long iron pincers, splintered wooden rods, a bowl of water that will not be used for anything kind. You recognize none of it, but you understand. They tell you that your body will be examined for the devil's marks, for the signs of witchcraft that all women must carry. You do not know what they expect to find. You do not bother to ask. 2 of the men order you to undress. You try not to cry as cold fingers fumble with the strings of your shift, tugging at your sleeves and skirts until you stand there, naked, filthy, trembling in the flickering light, arms pressed tight against your chest. The men circle you, inspecting every inch. Their hands are calloused, their faces bored, but there is a hunger in their eyes you recognize. They search your scalp for hidden powders, your mouth for sharp objects. They prod your belly, pinch the soft flesh of your thighs, twist your arms to see the undersides. You stand as still as you can, but their hands never stop moving, poking, pressing, spreading. When they find a scar, an old burn from the hearth, a mole below your left breast, they announce it as proof, as if the devil himself left his signature. They do not care about your explanations. They only want to find what they are looking for. The humiliation is worse than pain. You hear the scrape of a chair as one of the men sits down to write, his quill scratching out your supposed sins, your unnatural marks, your refusal to confess. They ask you questions again and again about who you met in the woods, what words you spoke at night, what secret ceremonies you performed. The questions become more personal, more obscene. Did you lie with men outside of marriage? Did you lie with women? Did you summon the devil through acts of the flesh? Did you enjoy it? You stare at the floor, refusing to answer, but every silence is taken as admission. Sometimes they force you to repeat their words, to describe imaginary deeds you never performed. The priest hovers near, his breath hot and sour on your ear, urging you to confess, to save your soul. You hear laughter from the guards, dry, sharp, joyless. Their amusement is the only warmth in the room. They introduce you to new instruments, wooden paddles, the edges sharp from use, iron prongs heated in the coals. They threaten you with these, sometimes pressing them against your skin so you can feel the potential for agony. They do not always follow through. Sometimes the promise of pain is enough, but sometimes when their patience grows thin, they use them anyway. You learn quickly that screaming is useless. No one comes to help, no one cares. There is always a bowl of water nearby, ostensibly for washing, but more often for pouring over your face, down your chest, making the cold deeper, the shame sharper. If you flinch, if you beg, the men only smile wider. You are told to kneel, to stretch, to assume positions that make your body ache, your skin crawl. Every touch, every word, every minute is designed to break you. There are other women too. Some older, their faces lined with sorrow and defiance. Some young, no more than children, already learning how quickly innocence is erased here. You see them sometimes in the halls, naked and bruised, heads bowed, hair shorn or matted with filth. No one speaks, but you share the same look, the same hollowed eyes. You are not witches, not even women anymore. You are bodies, evidence, confessions, waiting to be wrung out, pain waiting to be endured. The guards sometimes brag about their work. They joke about the witches they have broken, the truths they have uncovered. The priest congratulates them for their diligence, thanks God for their service. The men are always careful not to look too closely at one another, not to acknowledge what is truly happening here. They tell themselves they are saving souls, protecting the village, rooting out evil, but you see it in their eyes. The pleasure, the power, the thrill of your powerlessness. There are moments you almost believe them. After hours of interrogation, after endless cycles of humiliation and pain, you begin to doubt your own innocence. You remember dreams you had as a child, fantasies, nightmares. Were they real? Did you ever say those forbidden words? Did you ever wish harm on your neighbors? You want to scream that you are just a person, just a woman, just hungry and cold and afraid, but you know it would not matter. The story is written already. Sometimes the men bring other objects, herbs, oils, things they claim you used for witchcraft. They make you touch them, sniff them, identify them. If you do not know their names, it is evidence of your lies. If you do, it is evidence of your guilt. There is no winning. Eventually, when you are exhausted, they let you dress again. Your clothes, rough and dirty, scratch your skin like a punishment. You are led back to your cell, your knees buckling with every step. The guards push you along, sometimes laughing, sometimes silent. You wonder if they have wives, daughters, sisters. You wonder if they go home at night and sleep soundly. Back in your cell, the others do not look up. They do not ask questions. You are all careful to keep your distance, careful not to share stories, careful not to hope. Some pray, their lips moving silently, but you have forgotten the words. At night you lie awake, your skin crawling, your heart pounding, unable to forget the touch of strangers, the sound of their voices, the way the candlelight flickered on the iron instruments. You try to remind yourself that you are still alive, that this is not the end. But some days, you are not sure if that is a blessing or a curse. You wait again. You endure because there is nothing else left. You do not remember how you made it back to the cell. Your legs moved only because someone pushed you. Your body a rag. Your mind drifting somewhere far beyond the reach of the cold stone corridor. the door shut behind you, its echo louder than the last words of the priest. You collapse onto the heap of straw that serves as a bed, drawing your knees up to your chest, arms folded tight around yourself as if to hold in what little is left of your warmth, your dignity. The room is never silent. Someone is always whimpering, muttering, sobbing in the shadows. The air is thick with the stench of sweat, blood, and human waste. No one bothers to clean, least of all the guards. Your skin itches constantly, crawling with lice and worse. You can feel the little insects moving through your hair, biting, feeding. Sometimes, when your fingers are not too swollen, you try to catch them, crushing them between your fingernails with grim satisfaction. It is the only victory you are allowed. The women around you have stopped being individuals. They are faces in the dark, shapes curled into themselves, careful not to touch, not to make noise, not to draw attention. Some are missing teeth, others hair. Many bear bruises that bloom like rotten fruit along their arms and necks. A few are so thin they seem more bone than flesh, eyes huge and haunted in their sunken faces. You hear their stomachs rumble at night. You hear your own too. Food comes only once a day, sometimes not even that. It is always the same, a crust of bread, hard as wood, and a cup of tepid water that tastes faintly of iron. On rare occasions, a slice of grayish meat appears, and there is always a scramble, a fight, a flurry of dirty hands. You try not to look at what you eat. You try not to taste it. Hunger is stronger than disgust. There are rules here, though no one has written them down. Never sit near the door. The guards sometimes amuse themselves by kicking whoever is closest. Never look anyone in the eye. Desperation can make even the gentlest person dangerous. Never cry out at night, even when the nightmares claw at your throat. Screams attract attention, and attention is always bad. When the guards come, you pretend to be asleep. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it does not. Their boots are always muddy, their voices always joking, never kind. They open the door just enough to let in a draft, and then they choose. There is no pattern to it. Sometimes they pick the youngest, sometimes the oldest, sometimes the woman who seems weakest that day. Sometimes they call you by name. You always go, because resistance is pointless. You have seen what happens to those who fight. Sometimes they do not return. No one speaks of them again. Their bodies, you imagine, are thrown into the river or buried in shallow graves outside the walls. The living do not ask. The living do not remember. You know that forgetting is a kind of mercy. Your body heals in strange ways. Bruises fade from blue to green to yellow. Cuts scab over and itch, sometimes reopening when you twist in your sleep. The burns are worse. They never seem to stop hurting. Your skin is patchwork now, a map of your time here, your suffering written in scars. You have stopped caring about your appearance, stopped thinking of yourself as anything but another shadow in the darkness. There is a rhythm to life in the cell, a routine of misery. You wake, you wait, you eat. If you are lucky, you wait again. Sometimes a woman will try to speak, a whispered memory of children, of a husband, of sunlight and open air. The others hush her quickly. Memories are dangerous. They make you soft, make you hope, and hope is the most painful thing of all. Illness moves quickly through the darkness. Coughs become rattling in the chest, a fever that burns away what little strength you have left. There is no medicine. Sometimes when a woman collapses and does not move, the guards haul her away without comment. Once, you saw a rat chewing on a dead woman's foot before anyone noticed. you did not look away. The worst days are the days of silence, when no one is taken, when the guards do not come, when the only sound is the slow drip of water and the distant echoes of screams from other cells. On those days, you wonder if you have already died, if this is all that is left. Endless waiting in the dark, endless cold, endless filth. You no longer know how long you have been here. The seasons blur together. Sometimes you remember the color of grass, the smell of fresh bread, the warmth of the sun on your face. These memories are distant, blurred by hunger and pain. You try not to think about them, but they return in your dreams, cruel and bright. Occasionally the guards bring news. A woman has confessed, a trial will be held, a sentence is about to be carried out. The atmosphere in the cell thickens with dread. No one knows what is worse, the waiting or the knowing. You have seen women returned from trials, eyes blank, lips cracked, bodies broken in new ways. You do not ask what happened. You do not want to know. One day, you find yourself humming a song from your childhood, the melody barely more than a breath. An old woman in the corner looks up, her eyes cloudy, and mouths the words along with you. For a moment, you almost feel something like comfort, but the moment passes quickly. Someone coughs, and the mood is broken. You watch as the others change. Some grow bitter and mean, fighting over scraps, lashing out at anyone who comes too close. Others withdraw, becoming quieter, smaller, disappearing into themselves. You do not know which is better. You only know that you must survive, that you must endure, that each day survived is another small victory. At night you lie awake, listening to the world outside, a dog barking, the clang of a distant bell, the howl of wind through broken shutters. You wonder if anyone remembers you. You wonder if you will ever leave this place, if you will ever feel clean again. You no longer believe in miracles. You no longer believe in justice. You believe only in survival, in making it to the next morning, in the dull, persistent beat of your own heart. That, you have learned, is all there is. You know it is your turn before the guards even call your name. There is a tension in the cell that has been building all night, a heaviness in the air as thick as the mold on the walls. No one sleeps. Even the most broken, the most silent among you, keep their eyes open, fixed on the darkness, listening for footsteps. When they come, you do not move at first. You do not cry or plead. You simply stand, legs trembling, shoulders squared, and step forward into the weak yellow light of the torches. The corridor is colder than usual. The guards do not laugh this time. They grip your arms tight, their fingers digging into old bruises as they haul you down the winding stairs and out into the yard. You blink in the thin morning light, blinded after so many days of darkness. The world is gray, smeared with smoke and dew. Above you, the sky is a dirty wool blanket. You do not see the sun. The crowd is already gathering. People jostle and crane their necks, eager for the day's spectacle. Some are strangers, others faces from your old life. A neighbor whose bread you once bought, a woman who shared your well. The priest with his cracked lips, muttering prayers that sound more like curses. Children hang from their mothers' skirts, peering at you with wide, curious eyes. You wonder if you ever looked so innocent. You are led to the scaffold, a crude wooden platform already slick with morning frost and the leavings of previous trials. They tie your hands behind your back, too tight, rope biting through the swollen flesh of your wrists. You stand in a torn, filthy dress, bare feet numb against the wood. The executioner, face half hidden by a hood, glances at you just once before turning away. You realize with a hollow certainty that you are nothing to him, just another task before supper. The priest steps forward, book in hand, and intones the same tired words he has spoken for so many before you. He asks if you repent. The words catch in your throat, heavy and meaningless. Does it matter? Your confession was wrung from you in blood and shame. You nod, or maybe you do not. Either way, it changes nothing. They read the charges aloud, their voices echoing off the stone walls. Consorting with devils, corrupting the innocent, poisoning cattle, seducing men and women alike, bringing famine, pestilence, and death. The list is long, ridiculous, recited with solemn faces as if each word is carved in stone. The crowd murmurs approval. You try to remember if you ever did anything that might resemble these crimes. You cannot. Some in the crowd shout curses. Others only watch, eyes flat and hungry. You wonder what they see. A monster, a warning, a relief that it is not them. The children's faces are the worst, blank as the stones beneath your feet. You want to shout at them, tell them to remember you as a person, not a lesson, but your mouth is dry, and the words stay trapped inside. You see the pile of wood and straw at the base of the post, soaked through from last night's rain. The executioner moves slowly, methodically, stacking more branches, dousing them with oil. Someone ties your ankles, pulls you back against the post, knots the rope so tightly it burns your skin. Your head spins. You focus on the roughness of the wood, the cold pressing through your dress. Anything but the faces staring up at you. The first flames are almost a relief, small, flickering, weak against the dampness. You smell the oil before you feel the heat. Smoke rises, thick and acrid, stinging your eyes and throat. Someone shouts a prayer. Someone else laughs. The crowd presses closer. The priest's voice rises above the crackle of the fire, words tumbling over themselves. Salvation, redemption, justice, evil. You close your eyes. The world narrows to the smoke, the crackle of burning twigs, the pressure of rope against your wrists. Pain blooms slowly, almost gently at first. Warmth spreading up your legs, turning to agony as the flames catch your dress, then your skin. You try not to scream. You try to think of your mother, your sisters, the taste of bread, the smell of rain on warm earth. But the pain is too much, and the world dissolves into light and noise. You hear voices, distant, hollow. Someone shouts that the witch is screaming. Someone spits. Someone crosses themselves, hoping the devil will not look their way. You wonder if you have become a story already. Something for them to whisper about on cold nights when the wind howls and the hunger grows. Your body begins to fail you. The pain is everywhere, but it also becomes nothing, a distant memory, a fading echo. You float above the fire, above the crowd, above the priest and his prayers. For a moment you see the whole square, the crooked roofs, the muddy streets, the faces turned up toward you. No one looks kind. No one looks away. You think of all the women who came before you, all the women who will come after. You think of their names, their faces, their voices lost in the roar of the flames. You wonder if any of them found peace. You wonder if peace is even possible. The world narrows again, smoke, fire, rope, pain. At last, there is only silence. For the crowd, it is over quickly. The priest says his last words. The executioner pokes at the ashes with a stick. The people drift away, already gossiping about the next accusation, the next unlucky woman, the next spectacle. The square returns to its usual business. Mud, shouting, the slow march of ordinary misery. No one will remember your name. The priest will forget your face before the week is out. The guards will drink and laugh, congratulating themselves on a job well done. The women in the cell will keep their eyes low, pretending not to count how many are left. Your mother, if she still lives, will mourn you in silence, her grief another secret to keep. And so it continues. Fear, accusation, pain, fire, ash. The routine of survival and suspicion. The same story over and over until everyone forgets how it started. This is the truth of your world, not glory or justice, but endless mud, endless hunger, endless fear. You are not a witch, you are never even special, you were simply there, in the wrong place, at the wrong time, and that was enough. The fire burns out, the smoke drifts away, the village forgets, and life, filthy and dangerous, lurches onward, without you.